All right, everyone. It's another example of you understand what is meant, but the way in which it's said is not really great. It's like with Kamala Harris the other day. A couple days ago, she comes out and says, well, democracy is very strong, but it's also very fragile. It's like, okay, I understand your meaning. You're saying if everyone stands together and you've got unity and everything's hunky-dory, then democracy is rock solid. If those things begin to falter, if people fall into disunity, which you are promoting, then democracy it becomes very, very difficult to maintain. Understood. I understand the meaning, but that's because I train in linguistics. Andy Beshear is linguistically fucking sane. He's trending right now for a reason. He's talking about J.D. Vance and his proposals with regards to abortion, right? And he's like, well, barefoot in the kitchen, and, the woman gets raped, she has to carry it to term and stuff. Things that I don't support. I'm pro-choice, of course. I believe that a woman should be able to choose, at the very least, first trimester, or if the woman's life is in danger, because I don't want to sacrifice someone for a non-viable fetus. It doesn't make any sense. The state should not be able to sentence a person to death for having gotten pregnant. Yes, I know, yeah, blah, blah, blah. The woman chose to have sex. It's perfectly fine. The dude chose to have sex as well. And the state doesn't need to be involved in that decision-making unless there's an actual viable life involved. But Beshear, when he came out and made his statements with regards to J.D. Vance, he effectively insinuated that Vance should have one of his female relatives raped. This is not a good look. I was listening to it. I thought at first people were being hyperbolic. So 3 or 4 people sent me this clip, and I figured, okay, it can't be quite that bad. There's no way that Beshear, he's reasonably intelligent most of the time. I mean, he may be a raging liberal, but that doesn't mean that he's not conversational in English and capable of controlling what he says. I thought it was hyperbolic. I was like, it can't possibly be that bad. It's that bad. In fact, it's worse than I expected. He's effectively insinuating that J.D. Vance should have to suffer in a situation where his wife, his daughter, his sister, something like that, is raped and then can't get an abortion. I wonder why people are reacting poorly to this. It's like, what the fuck? Are you trying to go toe-to-toe with Kamala Harris on the poor optics scale? Because, that's a hard act to follow, but you're managing to step into the fray. It doesn't make any sense. J.D. Vance dragging him, by the way, again, link in the description. Is like, Beshear here is hoping that my sister or my daughter or something gets, fucked in the ass and gets pregnant. I know that's how. Never mind. I was gonna make a joke, but I don't know if I can do that on a YouTube video. You probably never mind. This is poor optics on level red. This is exactly what you don't want to do within politics. You don't want to hand your opponents leverage, hand them any arrows for their quiver. And Andy Beshear appears to have taken the whole quiver and just handed it off to J.D. Vance, actually, in the process of doing so. Wishing rape upon women in somebody else's life. I've got to chuckle at it because it's not a funny subject, but it's so optically poor. I've never seen so many mistakes being made in such a short time by a political campaign, and he is associated with the Kamala campaign. He was on the short list for running mate. He's big in Democratic politics, of course, governor of Kentucky. He's got a fairly prestigious position. You're going full Ralph Northam mode, my dude. I don't understand. Again, I know exactly what you're trying to convey, but 90% of the population is not going to understand what you're trying to convey. What they hear is you're wishing that J.D. Vance's relative gets raped. What I hear, of course, is you're pro-choice, and you look askance to what J.D. Vance has to say with regards to abortion. But that's not the average person. You have to be able to talk to this is the problem with the Democrats. The biggest problem. They're so elite and effete that they've lost sight of how to talk to the average person. They don't understand how the average person will absorb the information that they're trying to convey to them linguistically. They don't understand what the average person is going through economically, and they don't understand the average person's issues with regards to sociopolitics in general. So, near the border, town's been overrun by illegals, but you're still spouting platitudes about what a great job you've done at the border. That's not what the average person imbibes. They see you as out of touch. I mean, I'm giving free advice to the liberals right now. The average person in the United States sees you as out of touch, as not understanding the problems that plague the average person. Is an unplanned pregnancy, one that's not wanted, it is a tragedy, absolutely yes. But saying that you wish that your political opponent would have one of his female relatives raped makes absolutely no goddamn sense whatsoever. I'm struggling. I'm trying to find a way to, parse this out and say, okay, well, maybe there's a redeeming quality of what Beshear was saying. There is none. This is worse than a Kamala clip. I mean, God, you've got the gaffe of the entire political cycle. There's a reason you're going viral right now. You've managed to out Kamala. You've managed to out Biden. You've managed to out Tim Walz. Again, a very hard act to follow, but Beshear, God, I wonder why you weren't chosen as running mate. I think that it's a total mystery why the Kamala campaign decided not to go with you. And you were on the short list, admittedly. By the way, isn't it a ringing unendorsement of the Kamala campaign that this moron was being considered? Between the evil in what he's saying and the strategic stupidity of what he's saying, you were still on the short list for a running mate. I don't think that that's necessarily the greatest endorsement of the Kamala Harris campaign either. This is a major gaffe, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I'm looking at it, I'm like, give me more context, but then I look into the context and it's basically the same spiel. You sound like Ralph Northam, actually. You sound literally insane. Maybe you should be the Democrats' candidate, because clearly the whole party has gone insane too, so, it'd be representative of the demographic. That's about all. Peace out.